do is think about you. All I do is come to serve. This song is for those who believe. We are the black, go out there, hang us in trees. Them curses woke me up, told me I'm a son of God. Now I'm trying to make it out of here, this life is hard.
My skin is black upon me, I'm so comely, ain't I? When you see yourself, you looking at the true creator. He told Philip, if you have seen me, then you've seen the Father. Christ is black, so there's no need for me to bother explaining the evidence because it's in the Bible. Your image is in the scriptures, but they have disguised you as pimps, murderers, thugs, and baby mamas. Praise ye the Lord when it comes to beauty, he is the author. The texture of my woolly hair is very unique, but they say it ain't worth the dime, which is crazy to me. The enemy will tear their skin to cause an illusion. We bleach our skin to look like them, you see the confusion. And to my sisters, oh how I love your royal style, and you so beautiful when you go all natural. The only explanation I can give about my nation, they hate us cause they ain't us. It's kinda funny, ain't it? Pure gold, brother, you pure gold. Just let the royalty deep inside of you unfold, cause you are pure gold. Sister, you pure gold. See, there's a beauty deep down inside of you unknown, cause you are pure gold. Brother, you pure gold. Sister, you pure gold. Israel, we all gold. Yes, we are all gold. Pure, beautiful gold. Just let the royalty deep inside of you unfold, huh?
Very shaped and refined as the golden Ophir. God's righteous servants are here, bright lights blind like chandeliers. Ain't it ever so clear that we made in this likeness? Propaganda of Esau, it deceiveth the righteous, to the point if it were possible he posed a real threat, even so much that he deceiveth the very elect. This fight is fixed, so with God's word I'm placing my bet. An age where people hear the truth and they tend to neglect. My skin I won't regret. Most of my peers they do. Trying to appeal to them when they just wanna be like you. You define beauty, but you ain't never been taught that trait. As a result of that, I skin we subconsciously hate. We came a long way from slaves on a rocky slave ship, just to evolve the blonde hair and the surgical fit. To some this is a dream, I say reality. We once was kings and priests, now niggas all we see.
Pure gold, brother, you pure gold. Just let the royalty deep inside of you unfold, cause you are pure gold. Sister, you pure gold. See, there's a beauty deep down inside of you unknown, cause you are pure gold. Brother, you pure gold. Sister, you pure gold. Israel, we all gold. Yes, we are all gold. Pure, beautiful gold. Just let the royalty deep inside of you unfold, huh? My skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes. Gotta purify your impurities to find your gold. My skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes.
Go, 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 go.
Oh, my skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes. Gotta purify your impurities to find your gold. My skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes. Gotta purify your impurities to find your gold. My skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes. Gotta purify your impurities to find your gold. My skin's black upon me, and that's just how it goes.
It's come to serve you.
Shalom, assalamu alaikum, aloha, hola, hello, wherever you are in this world. I want to say welcome to Okoti Speaks. I am your host, Okoti Tamor, and I want to welcome you back again this Thursday. Let's talk. Y'all seen the title? Social media and your mental health. Wow. Family, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're feeling a certain kind of way, if you can't get on Facebook, or if you're feeling a certain kind of way because you upset about a certain kind of post that somebody posted up and you may just think they was talking about you. If you feeling a certain kind of way because somebody didn't watch your video or didn't like your video, I think you may be suffering from social media mental abuse. That's what tonight's topic is about. And tonight, I do have a special guest that will be joining us a little bit later. She's been a guest on our show before. Tonight, we're going to have the plainest Jane going to come back and help us speak on social media and the effects on your mental health. After all, she is a journalist as well as a YouTuber. If you have not checked her out, go on over to YouTube. Search The Plainest Jane. Check out her videos. Like and subscribe. The sister brings us the news, what's happening in our hood, and she reports the stories that nobody else is reporting on. So check her out. That's going to be our future guest coming up right about the 7:30 hour. So back to social media and your mental health. You probably never thought that you'd be having some issues with your mental health. I'm sure that thought never crossed your mind on how just you engaging in social media on an everyday basis can affect how you think and how others perceive you based on what you post. I'm going to start this show off tonight with a video. The video is 13 minutes long, and because of copyright issues, I've had this happen to me before. I played somebody's video and Facebook it took the whole video down because they claim I copyrighted, did a copyright violation. I do not want to do that, but I do want to put this information out. I'm going to go ahead and put this disclaimer. I respect the rights of other people, so I'm using this particular video strictly for educational purposes, trying to share with information that always been put out there in the media. Mass reports has been done on this, the effects of social media in your mental health. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video for us. And in between the video, I am going to stop it, pause it, just so that we can avoid social media strikes. That's the best way I could see for right now. And besides, we might want to have some discussions. Some things that might be said may spark my intellect, and I may have to pose some questions or make some comments. So that's what we here to do. We're here to talk. Let's talk social media and how it affects your mental.
So you're dealing with an addicted generation.
This is a big time bomb ticking.
This is no accident. Indeed, it is by design.
I mean, seriously?
It was my mistake.
I mean, I think we can all feel it.
To try to make these products as addictive as
400%
possible.
spike in dopamine.
We now know that many of the major social media companies hire individuals called attention engineers who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible.
Try to make products as addictive as possible. Trying to make products as addictive as possible. So right away, family, that tells us that they were ahead of the game, that they engineered these social media platforms to get you addicted to something. So if you wasn't addicted to cigarettes, if you wasn't addicted to marijuana, if you wasn't addicted to cocaine, you wasn't addicted to crack, you wasn't addicted to heroin, you wasn't addicted to alcohol, they gave you a new addiction, a new crutch, something that you can lean on to kind of ease your pain. Has social media become our new counselor? Will we go to social media to vent and tell everybody how we're feeling about what we're going through in our personal life? We go to social media rather than going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and sitting on their they couch or they sofa and sit in the chair and telling your life story to them where it's just you and you got a certain amount of confidentiality? Or has social media become the way that we have chosen to express ourselves, to actually work out those emotions that we may be feeling about a particular situation or even particular people? We let that play out on social media, and they did it on purpose. They wanted you to do just that. Is that a conspiracy on your brain that they had in mind engineered to say, let's put these social media platforms out here and see how far we can go to gain control of their mind to whereby they addicted to it, and if they don't have it, they may begin to feel a certain kind of way about themselves. I'm just saying. Let's continue with the video. Because, as you continue to listen, you're going to see that it's going to cause you to think about the choices that you're making right now, today.
That is the desired use case of these products, is that you use it in an addictive fashion because that maximizes the profit that can be extracted from your attention and data.
It literally is a point now where I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are.
The way the technologist Jaron Lanier puts it is that these companies offer you shiny treats in exchange for minutes of your attention and bytes of your personal data, which can then be packaged up and sold.
What happened is that the attention economy and this race for attention got more and more competitive. And the more competitive it got to get people's attention on, say, a news website, the more they need to add these design principles, these more manipulative design tactics, as ways of holding on to your attention.
You don't realize it, but you are being programmed.
Social media tools are designed to be addictive. The actual desired use case of these tools is that you fragment your attention as much as possible throughout your waking hours. That's how these tools are designed to use. Well, we have a growing amount of research which tells us that if you spend large portions of your day in a state of fragmented attention, so large portions of your day where you're constantly breaking up your attention, take a quick glance, do a just check, and just quickly look at Instagram, that this can permanently reduce your capacity for concentration. I am especially worried about this when we look at the younger generation coming up, which is the most saturated in this technology.
It's very addictive because if you pull on the slot machine arm enough, you will win. And you never know which pull will reward you.
That's an addictive behavior, and it's dopamine that is driving that addiction. So what happens with social media is Robert Sapolsky, who did the foundational research on this at Stanford, calls it the magic.
I'm stopping this just for copyright purposes, you guys. I don't want to play too much of this video in succession to get a copyright strike, but let's just go ahead and talk about that addictive behavior once again and how, it's programmed in you. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you're reaching for? Your phone. I know I do it too, because my phone has become my source of where I get my news. I don't watch TV. I go to YouTube and I pull up the local news from YouTube. They recorded it. It happened while I was sleeping. If the news come on at 5:30 and I wake up at 6, then I can get the 5:30 news on YouTube because it's been recorded. But what else are we using our phones for first thing when we wake up? Some people use their phones to read scripture. And then some people use their phones to find out what somebody said about them, or how somebody responded to the last post that they posted, or how somebody responded to the last comment that you commented on somebody else's post. What are we searching for when we're looking through our social media? And what is that doing to our mental? And how much of that time we're spending doing that is taking away from times that we could be doing, thinking, engaging in something positive? Are we picking up our phone to see what's on our calendar, our Google Calendar for today, these things that we should have, outline our priorities with the things that we need to do to take care of our business? That's what we're picking up our phone for, to check our calendar. These are just questions, So just questions. And so get back to the video. We're going to walk through this very slow, because these are some questions that we have to answer.
Maybe when you look at your phone and maybe there's a text there and maybe there's not, and you don't know, when it shows up, that high you get, that's dopamine. It's the magic of maybe. Maybe it'll be there, maybe it won't. When it shows up, you get a 400% spike in dopamine. That is roughly the same amount of dopamine as you're getting from cocaine. It's slightly less than an extremely addictive drug like cocaine. And that's what's happening.
We really care what other people think of us. So for example, when you upload a new profile photo of yourself on Facebook, that's a moment where our mind is very vulnerable to knowing what other people think of my new profile photo. And so when we get new likes on our profile photo, Facebook, knowing this, could actually message me and say, oh, you have new likes on your profile photo. And it knows that we'll be vulnerable to that moment because we all really care about when we're tagged in a photo or when we...
Stopping it again, family. So why do we care if when we post a video, a photo, if someone likes it? I get it if you're in the business of selling something. I get why you would want people to like your photo if you're trying to sell something. But if you're not selling yourself and you're constantly posting pictures of yourself, your boo, your children, or things you like to go, things you like to do, places you like to go to, all that is surrounding just you. We have to stop and wonder and ask ourselves, why do we do that? What are we hoping to get out of that? Outside of sharing those pictures of us and our kids, our outings with our close friends, just our immediate families. Because you do know on these social media sites, well, I don't know about Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all those, but on Facebook, I know you can, have a private group where only the people that's inside that group can see what you got going on. But we are not only posting to private groups, but we are making sure that our posts go public. Why do we do that? Why do we want the public to know us? Are we trying to validate ourselves? That's a mental question. And why do you need validation? Better yet, why are you seeking validation from complete strangers? On Facebook, we say we got Facebook friends. Facebook friends. But do you really know them in order to equate them to the definition of friend? We'll get back to the video. These are just questions that you really should ponder.
We have a new profile photo. And the thing is that they control the dial, the technology companies control the dial for when and how long your profile photo shows up on other people's news feeds. So they can orchestrate it so that other people more often end up liking your profile photo over a delayed period of time, for example, so that you end up having to more frequently come back and see what the new likes are.
And it's literally rewiring our brain. Even social media, the challenge is, with these terms like Facebook depression and everything.
What's that?
This is social media depression because whereas everyone's looking at their feed and they're comparing their lives to other people, their highlights of other people's lives.
Wow.
And there's actually less life satisfaction, more sadness, depression, and stuff like that.
And it's interesting because if you think about things that routinely produce a lot of dopamine, alcohol, for example, there's a drinking age, right? We have a drinking age. the alcohol releases a whole lot of dopamine. It makes you feel really, really good. We say, okay, you can have that, but you've got to wait. You've got to be 21 years old. We don't do that with social media. We're, essentially putting highly addictive drugs into the hands of kids before they have any natural defenses against them. And what you're seeing with internet addiction, with social media addiction, is the same thing over and over. It's people trying to change their state of consciousness with a device, trying to get at the underlying neurochemical chemistry, and it's very, very addictive.
And so I would say the problem with the gadgets, and I mean, they're amazing things, is that they proximately interfere with medium to long-term goals, I would say. And so I think the first thing you have to do to bring them under control is figure out what it is that their use is interfering with. It has to be something important. So you think, well, I want to do something important. Well, what is that? Oh, it could be personal. Maybe you want to have a relationship. You want to get married. You want to have kids. You want to have a career that's meaningful. You want to have a life. You want to have an Abrahamic adventure and be the father of nations, let's say. Well, you can't be ratting away on your cell phone and doing that. And so I think part of it is to set your sights high and make a plan and figure out who you could be and see if obsessive utilization of smartphone fits into that vision of nobility. And it will partly, because they're unbelievably powerful communication devices, but so often it's for lack of something better to do.
Oh, what you got there?
Linda, what did we get?
What's in there?
We're not trying to advertise nobody, y'all.
Imagine like when you take that to the extreme, where, bad actors can now manipulate large swaths of people to do anything you want. It's a really, really bad state of affairs. And we compound the problem, right? We curate our lives around this perceived sense of perfection because we get rewarded in these short-term signals, hearts, likes, thumbs up, and we conflate that with value and we conflate it with truth. And instead what it really is fake brittle popularity. That's short-term and that leaves you even more, and admit it, vacant and empty before you did it. Because then it forces you into this vicious cycle where you're like, what's the next thing I need to do now? Because I need it back. Think about that compounded by 2 billion people. And then think about how people react then to the perceptions of others. It's really bad.
So we know from the research literature that the more you use social media, the more likely you are to feel lonely or isolated. We know that the constant exposure to your friends' carefully curated positive portrayals of their life can leave you to feel inadequate and can increase rates of depression. And something I think we're going to be hearing more about in the near future is that there's a fundamental mismatch between the way our brains are wired and this behavior of exposing yourself to stimuli with intermittent rewards throughout all of your waking hours. So it's one thing to spend a couple hours at the slot machine in Las Vegas, but if you bring a slot machine with you and you pull that handle all day long from when you wake up to when you go to bed, we're not wired from it. It short circuits the brain, and we're starting to find that it has actual cognitive consequences, one of them being this sort of pervasive background hum of anxiety.
Here's the thing. The world we live in isn't real. Social media isn't real. And by design, social media rewards us for showing our best life. The edited, posed, champagne, Michelin star, holiday, orchestrated best angle of our life, the highlight reel. But you don't ever see real life, the 99% of our lives, the behind the scenes, the unglamorous, unfiltered, day-to-day, bland normality. And you end up comparing your behind the scenes to other people's fake highlight reel and using others as a mirror or benchmark.
And that's where we go wrong. We consciously take all of these images into our subconscious, and then we expect our reality to mirror what our subconscious has been fed. And when our reality does not look like what the subconscious has been fed, we go into what we call depression, anxiety. Depression and anxiety. if you were never fed those images, you would never be able to understand or be able to encounter such emotions. To be able to feel low self-esteem, or feel like you're inadequate, or feel like you need to compete, or covet, or have a sense of jealousy or envy. All of those negative vibrations, energies, spirits leads to you being depressed, having anxiety, borderline suicidal, leads you to engage in behaviors that you probably would not have done if you would not have had the exposure to said situation or what you fed your subconscious via social media. I know that was a lot, so I'm going to just wait a minute. Understand what you're putting into your subconscious feeds how you're going to react in your reality. And when your reaction in your reality causes individuals in the situation to react contrary to what you saw in your subconscious, then you have a problem. How they say, Houston, we have a problem because it's not playing out like you thought it should. When you post a picture, you think your baby cute, you think your baby woo-woo, and ain't nobody liking your baby picture, how you feel? Why did you post it? I go back to why did you post it in the beginning? What were you looking for? Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in wanting to win someone else's approval when you're already good enough. You validate yourself by your actions and what you feed your subconscious. Now that a coachee have already told you why they have engineered and put these platforms before our very face, it's up to you to decide how much energy are you going to give to something that you now know was designed to get you addicted. Come out of her, my people.
Benchmark for how you should look, how successful you should be, or how you should live. These fake comparisons will only serve to make you feel inadequate and inferior to something that isn't even real. Research continually shows that comparing your life to someone else's creates envy, low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and depression. You compare yourself to other people every single day, consciously or subconsciously. And no matter what I say, you're not going to stop because comparing one thing to another is a natural human thing to do. Whether we want to admit it or not, a big reason why anything has value is because there's something worse or better to compare it to. Think about it. An old brick of a mobile phone with a big aerial is only considered amazing in a world before the smartphone. The horse and carriage is only considered a phenomenal mode of transport until the car comes along. The answer isn't to stop making comparisons because unfortunately we can't control that. But you have to change the object of your comparison from someone else to yourself. You have to measure yourself against yourself. And
it goes back again to what I was saying about why are you doing it? Why are you posting pictures of your family? Why do you want and making it go public? Why do you do that? And be honest with yourself. Why do you do that? You post a picture of your child, nobody likes it, not how you feel. What were you trying to gain from that? Why would you expose your child to that social experiment anyways? Right?
By doing this, you start at a base point where you consider yourself to be perfectly fine exactly how you are. But it also is the most effective, motivating, and healthy way to work to improve yourself. You'll become your happiest self when you stop putting pressure on yourself to be more like someone else, and when you start comparing real to real.
We are in a really bad state of affairs right now, in my opinion. It is eroding the core foundations of how people behave by and between each other. And I don't have a good solution. My solution is I just don't use these tools anymore. I haven't for years. It's created huge tension with my friends, huge tensions in my social circles. If you look at my Facebook feed, I've posted maybe 2 times in 7 years. 3 times, 5 times. It's less than 10. And it's weird. I guess I kind of just innately didn't want to get programmed. And so I just tuned it out. But I didn't confront it. And now to see what's happening, it really bums me out.
Back in the 1970s and the early 80s at Xerox PARC, when Steve Jobs first went over and saw the graphical user interface, the way people talked about computers and what computers were supposed to do was a bicycle for our minds. That here we are, you take a human being, and they have a certain set of capacities and capabilities, and then you give them a bicycle, and they can go to all these new distances. They're empowered to go to these brand new places and to do these new things, to have these new capacities. And that's always been the philosophy of people who make technologies. How do we create bicycles for our minds to do and empower us to feel and access more? Now, when the first iPhone was introduced, it was also the philosophy of these technologies. How do we empower people to do something more? And in those days, it wasn't manipulative because there was no competition for attention. Photoshop wasn't trying to maximize how much attention it took from you. It didn't measure its success that way. And the internet overall had been, in the very beginning, not designed to maximize attention. It was just putting things out there, creating these message boards. It wasn't designed with this whole persuasive psychology that emerged later.
If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in. And it is a point in time where people need to hard break from some of these tools and the things that you rely on. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. And it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
Let me tell you why they asked that question. Why did they ask Zuckerberg would he be comfortable with sharing where he spent the night at a hotel? That is because if you go online and you book a hotel online, 9 times out of 10, in your news feed, on your feed, you're going to get an advertisement from that very same hotel that you booked yourself in. But on your friend's timeline, they're going to say that you liked this particular hotel. Or you actually visited this hotel. After you went, you booked the hotel, you went, you came back, your friends will know that you were there because why? Mark Zuckerberg and Google and Facebook has it designed and set up whereby they can tell where you're checking in, how long you're staying, and then they push ads to people that are like you so that they can make you feel like, okay, if you're on the receiving end of it, oh, wow, my friend just stayed at this hotel. I should stay there too. See? brainwashing. See? And I've had experiences, and I'm sure you guys have too, whereby Facebook have said that my own mama, my own self mama, Ima, they say that she liked something. And I'm like, I know damn well she didn't like that. And I call her phone like, hey, did you just like? And no, she didn't. Right? But they want me to think that she did so that I could do it too. You know how that jump on the bandwagon syndrome. And then it works vice versa. It works vice versa on our mental health when we, as people who want to put out the truth, and then you have those individuals that want to combat, fight against you because they don't want that truth to come out. And that has been the plight of our people for a very long time. They have been silencing our people for a very long time. And they have used social media as a weapon to find out exactly how you feel about certain social issues. They have since categorized you, and then now they're pushing certain propaganda, recommended ads or recommended stories or recommended followers or recommended subscriptions, all these recommendations based on what your social media habits. You might as well consider the entire internet arena as social media. Why do I say that? Because Google Analytics is selling your information to social media platforms. I just explained to you how that works. I book a hotel on Expedia.com, and then they send that information to Facebook, or Facebook have a contract with them, and anybody who's subscribing, if they're a Facebook user, and you send us that information, here's all our Facebook users, and if that Facebook user, that name registers, bing, then you say, let us know, and then we're going to send an ad to everybody that's in that particular user's Facebook friends downstream, and let everybody know that I like to visit and stay at this place. So when the congressman asked Zuckerberg, would you like everybody to know where you stay? That was a pun at him, right? But if you're not understanding how analytics work in the social media realm, then you wouldn't have caught that. Right, and if we continue to let that particular piece of that hearing play on, then you'll hear his response, and his response is no, of course not. But then let everybody know if I decide to take a trip to California, because they're gonna tell you I booked a ticket or a flight, or I like this place and I'm now at this place. And sometimes we let them know, because we'll post on Facebook, I'm now leaving San Antonio and I'm going to New York. You're letting everybody know you're gone. Hello. Can we say somebody around your house? We put that out there. Or can we say we allow the FBI to go in our house because we know they know you're not there? Bug your house. Do all sort of kind of things in your house, because they are in control of all of this. My family, I did promise y'all a guest right about the 7:30 hour. I just want to make sure that my guest is here and waiting. We pray that she was able to come in and join us, and I don't see her. So I will continue on. She has given me the blessings to to speak on whatever. So hopefully maybe she'll join us a little later. Forgive me, give me a moment. Let me go ahead and text her and see if she will be joining us right now in this hour. And this social media thing, we really have to consider that because, number one, it's about to be all over. We have to consider what we're going to do when they do pull the plug. And then once they pull the plug, we have to consider what are they going to do with the information that we've already put out. What are we going to do with the information we've already put out? Let me show you how I'm not just chopping my gums, but this is an article that I pulled up from McLeanHospital.org. The Social Dilemma, Social Media and Your Mental Health. The social media platform, Instagram, made headlines last year for suppressing likes in an effort to curb the comparisons and hurt feelings associated with attaching popularity to sharing content. But do these efforts combat mental health issues? Or are they simply applying a band-aid to a wound? What wound are they talking about? The wound that was purposely created when they purposely created these social media platforms? The social media platform Instagram made headlines this year, suppressing likes. It is a small step in the right direction, says Jacqueline Sperlin, the PhD, a psychologist at McLean Hospital who works with youth who experience anxiety disorders about Instagram's recent restriction. Even if you remove the likes, there continues to be opportunities for comparisons and feedback. People still can compare themselves to others, and people still can post comments. Why are we trying to compare ourselves, and what are we comparing ourselves to? The risk for the reward. Social media has a reinforcing nature. Using activities, the brain's reward center by releasing dopamine, a feel-good chemical linked to a pleasurable activity such as sex, food, and social interaction. The video that I played, talked about that. The platforms are designed to be addictive and are associated with anxiety, depression, and even physical ailments. According to the Pew Research Center, 69% of adults and 81% of teens in the U.S. use social media. This puts a large amount of the population at an increased risk of feeling anxious, depressed, or ill over their social media use. A large population are at increased risk of feeling anxious, depressed, or ill over social media use. But what makes users come back for even more, even when it literally makes them feel sick? It's an addiction. Sort of like when you're addicted to alcohol. You just keep throwing up, but you keep drinking, and you keep drinking. When the outcome is unpredictable, the behavior is more likely to repeat, Sperlin says. Think of the slot machine. If game players knew they were never going to get money by playing the game, then they never would play. The idea of a potential future reward keeps the machine in use. The same game goes for social media sites. One does not know how many likes a picture will get, who will like the picture, and when the picture will receive likes. The unknown outcome and the possibility of the desired outcome can keep users engaged with the sites. See, understand that they're playing a chemical game with you, with your brain, providing you with an alternative crutch to make you feel good about yourself, but you got to wait for it. Well, today, my brothers and sisters, I offer you something to ponder. If in Scripture it is said that faith is the belief in things not seen, then how about we focus more time on our faith-based initiatives rather than focusing on social media. I'm pausing for effect because I want that to sink in. I'm going to read the last line from the article and then I'm going to repeat what I said. The unknown outcome and the possibility of a desired outcome can keep users engaged with the sites. It's like a drug that you have to have. Just keep calling you and calling you. Just be calling me. Using my Pookie voice from New Jack City. And just be calling me and calling me. Right? You put your phone down 5 minutes later, you're picking your phone right back up because why are you expecting somebody to respond to a post or a comment or a like that you just, hey, come on. Seriously? Because you just have faith in these people that they're going to think of you in this hour and have that much reverence for you, show you that much respect, and you're just going to respond. That's a mental conditioning whereby you're taking yourself out of reality and stuck in an everlasting roller coaster of social media insanity because it doesn't exist. It's almost like a movie screen, except that you're participating in it in real life. If we didn't participate in this social media experiment the government got going on, I'll repeat that. If you did not participate in the social media experiment that the government has going on, then you would not have to be subjected to the social media abuse or the addiction. If it doesn't exist, if you don't participate, it doesn't exist. But we're participating, and that's why it exists. You're like an unwilling victim. No, I'm not going to say unwilling, but an unknowing victim. You're a victim of your own self-circumstances. Well, we heard that. I'm sure we've heard that before. Well, my guest, I can say that maybe we may not have a guest tonight, but I would just say this. I'm going to ask you all to pray for the plainest Jane. Yes, I am going to ask you all to pray for the plainest Jane. The social media storm that has come about due to a certain individual posting a post, and the plainest Jane, being a journalist herself, reporting on that particular post, has created a what we call a social media hellfire, hell and damnation against the plainest Jane. And all she did was report the story. You know, and because the plainest Jane has not come on, I am going, and we're talking about social media. We are talking about social media and how it affects us. And my sister was, I don't know how much of this I should be sharing at this time, but I will tell you this, family. I guarantee you this. At 4 o'clock today, I did not know that I was going to be speaking on this particular topic as it relates to the plainest Jane. But this is how our Father, our Creator, works. Social media was my topic on last night, 2 days ago, actually. I think Monday, Monday or Tuesday, I came up with the topic. And I reached out to the plainest Jane today after watching a video, just checking in on her. I hadn't visited her YouTube channel in a while, just checking in on her, and I saw some things that was going down, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know anything about this story. And probably right now, maybe her and maybe two other people are talking about this story. And so since I had a couple of articles that I wanted to share with you all, but since I'm going into this much depth in it, and my sister is not on to talk for herself, I have to go ahead and play this clip, because guess what? She's the only. I'm just saying. You guys, you might have seen that. That this girl Collier was kidnapped. I see here right here that
I'm here.
Oh, praises to the Most High, my sister. I did not want to have to go, but I was just, sister, so my family, we have in the house plainest Jane on the line in the building, and I was telling the family that I felt so sorry for you when I heard your story this afternoon. I did not want to. I did not know it was so much pressure being put on you, as at the same time when I came up with this topic. And like I was telling my audience that I came up with this topic, I think it was Tuesday when I said I was going to do social media and how it affects our mental health. And here it is that you have this story that I came across last night, and then listened to some more today, and then called you. My sister, without going into too much, because like we've already discussed, I'm not trying to go there with you, but I just want you to tell the family, what do you think about social media? What do you think, your honest opinion of social media? Who do you honestly think controls social media? And how do you think that we can combat the ills of social media through a journalistic type of way? I pray that you understand those questions in the order in which I presented them, sister. Welcome to Occult Speaks. Again, the plainest Jane. You have the mic, my sister.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's definitely a pleasure. As far as who controls social media, I really think the users control way more than they know. Way more than they know, for the simple fact that it is more lucrative for content creators to create content that is drama based because that's what gets the most views. And when you create positive or uplifting content or stuff that's just not, salacious or TMZ like, it doesn't get as many views. And so people fail to realize, just like your dollar holds a lot of power, your viewership holds a lot of power. So I think that people, content, the audiences, they really underestimate how much power they hold in not looking at nonsense and making sure that the viewership stays low on that type of stuff, and making sure that when there's content that they like, that not only do they watch it once, but they watch it twice. Turn it on when you're in the bathroom or there's not anything that you're doing, and make sure that video plays 2 or 3 times or however many times. If you feel like it's great content, share it on your timeline, and different things of that nature. But, also tapping into the life of a content creator, it bears a lot of weight on you when your audience or viewers approach you in a way that really just isn't respectful. And that's kind of what I ran into with the story of Kalina Collier. It was a situation where a Black woman expressed that she was in danger, and she spent over an hour on live telling us that she was in a dangerous, uncomfortable situation. And it turns out that the general consensus is that she wasn't being truthful with that narrative. And while this is going to forever be a conspiracy theory, I have caught a lot of backlash because Kalina isn't readily available. She hasn't been on social media. She's only released 2 very vague short statements, and only the people who reported on the story are available to receive the backlash of whatever Kalina's narrative of what she said her experience was when she was in Jamaica. So it definitely weighs heavy on the content creator, but also, on the audience. This is my first major experience with basic cyberbullying, cyber harassment, stalking, and just like disrespectful demands of what to do, because I shared my platform to shed light on what Kalina said, despite the fact that I gave a lot of disclaimers as to whether she was being truthful or not. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience with it.
And so, my sister, you mentioned respectful users versus those haters. And when you have more of the haters online on social media, that when I say haters, that's people, I'm saying people who disagree with the narrative that you put forth as a journalist, and some of your opinions that you comment on, your comments that you make in relation to the stories that you're reporting on. We oftentimes are placed in the bad position where we have to be bombarded with what you mentioned, the general consensus. And you said that the general consensus surrounding that whole story was that this young lady was lying based on posts that, or you say vague posts that we've seen since she posted her main story about being I would sum it up as being kidnapped. Could we say that? I mean, my sister, you know more about that story, and if you don't want to go into it, that's fine. But if you could just basically comment on the general consensus and people who are disagreeing with you, and how do you deal with it when there's more of a general consensus of people not agreeing with you, as opposed to people who, a general consensus of people who agree with what your comments are.
And see, that's the thing. It's not about agreeing with me, because it's not about how I feel. It's about what Kalina said and what she put forth to be her experience in Jamaica, which is what I played. I played her whole hour and 6 minutes worth of testimony. And I stated several times, if she's telling the truth, this deserves to be talked about. If she's not telling the truth, this deserves to be talked about. I said that several times throughout the video. So it's really not about what I think, because as stated, no one will ever really know what happened from the moment she stepped off that plane until now. We will not have that. So this will forever be a conspiracy theory. It's what Kalina is saying, it's what the hotel is saying, and it's the truth that lies somewhere in the middle. So in no way, shape, or form is this about what I think. Now, Kalina was fired because of this from JetBlue, and there are different things being done behind the scenes as far as how they can or cannot hold her accountable legally based on what she said. And that's the problem, is people lumping anything that I may or may not think about this situation into what Kalina said. I don't know what happened, and I said that several times. And so people making me, the middleman because I shared my story. Again, the really unfortunate part about this situation and the way that people essentially, came at me with pitchforks is it makes it less desirable for me to open up my platform in the future to really lend to someone who isn't getting the media attention that really could use it. Because again, if it was 22-year-old, because Kalina's 22 years old, if it was a 22-year-old white woman in distress online, she would have been at the front of all these headlines. The thing was, Kalina had been saying that she was in this dangerous situation for days before anybody necessarily picked it up. So sometimes it is the urban media or the smaller platforms who get out news that otherwise mainstream media wouldn't pick up, because it's not as lucrative to talk about someone with a non-white or non-Eurocentric name to get that media coverage, if that makes sense. And what this has done for me is I'm not really encouraged to talk about the next Black woman with an independent report, or all she's saying is she's in danger and no other media publication has picked it up. I don't feel comfortable bringing it to my platform until I see the mainstream media picking up. And that's really unfair, in my opinion, that I have to wait on white or mainstream media to pick up a story before I feel comfortable talking about it, because of how this has impacted my mental health, with the impact that all this cyberbullying became because I covered the Kalina story.
And sister, without going into too much details, because you mentioned it up, your mental health. You mentioned your mental health. You brought it up. Without going into too much details, I need you to explain to our audience, what do you mean by how it's affecting your mental health? What type of comments, or what are you go ahead and tell the listening audience what you've been experiencing, since you just did your journalistic job reporting on the story that went live on, was it Instagram where you picked up the story from, or was it?
Yeah, it was on Instagram.
Yeah, so you picked up the story on Instagram, you reported the story, and since then you've been receiving backlash because some people believe that Miss Kalina Collier was lying. So you, from journalistic point of view, do you feel like, are you saying that because you reported on the truth, you're getting this hate, or because people are believing that she lied, you're getting this hate? I'm not understanding why you're getting the heat.
It's Kalina isn't available to catch the backlash. It really doesn't make sense, again, because there have been people who called into the Jamaican government and they're saying that they received death threats and different things of that nature. And again, in nowhere in my video did I say anything about that. But if people heard the story and decided that they demanded where Kalina was and they made death threats, that has nothing to do with me. But again, Kalina is nowhere to be found. As far as having any, she's not on social media at all. I'm still a regular person, you know what I mean? So me still being on social media, and any post that I make or anything that I say, it's oh, you should have came on and exposed Kalina, or you should have talked about this. And the truth of the matter is, all of it is very murky. It's the whole story is super duper murky, and people want me to put my opinion along with the facts. And truthfully, all of this was happening on Valentine's Day, and I was receiving a lot of the hate messages, the rude comments, you know 10 rude comments per 5 minutes. Like, it was crazy on Valentine's Day. And it was like, oh, you're not informing your audience, you're being a bad journalist. And I was seeing those comments throughout the day, but again, it was Valentine's Day, so there were other people who had been going live that whole day numerous times, every time there was an update or a new detail. And again, I have less than 30,000 subscribers. I don't live by my computer, if that makes sense. So this narrative was growing and it was snowballing very fast. And me being like, okay, well, I'm not by my computer, I'm just going to ignore this until we're going to get more details about Kalina. But the whole day, it was just getting worse. And my phone was just blowing up. It was just so, between the comments coming through as fast as they were, between legitimate concerned subscribers in my inbox, it was a lot on Valentine's Day. And there's no way to even explain how fast my heart was beating the whole day, and the narrative that was growing, that I saw from sun up to sundown, about me spreading misinformation, to people beginning to say that I helped Kalina come up with the whole story. I'm behind it. Me and her are in cahoots. I know who Kalina is. I mean, there were just all types of stories brewing the whole day.
Okay, so sister, let me ask you this question, and I'm gonna give you a chance to go ahead and clear the air. Have you spoken with Kalina Collier?
Not at all. I definitely did send a message for the sake of journalistic, before I even did the initial video about her, just for the sake of me going live. Of course, I found out where her social media was. I saw, the statement, and I sent some sort of like a caring message. It's just like, hey, a lot of us are concerned. I'm about to go live. I hope that you're okay. If you want to say anything. And of course, I never got a response, but that was just like, a courtesy before I ever did, the first story. I never got a response, but everyone knew what her Instagram was based on that post. So no, I don't know her.
Okay, so, and then the young lady that's on this video that I have posted up on YouTube. I don't know if where you're viewing us from, but we are live on YouTube and on Twitch. Facebook is acting kind of funny, so oh yeah, I think we're live on YouTube and Twitch. But on February 19th, you posted a video. It's about 38 minutes long, and it looks like you have a young lady that's representing the page at Ocean Coral _lied. Who is that individual?
That is a woman named Anna, who, again, as expressed throughout the interview, basically told how she became a hold of the story, which was similar to how I became a hold of the story. Just on social media, her little sister saw what Kalina was saying. She was live for over an hour saying that she was in a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
And so you basically hooked up with her. She established this whole page or about what was going on with Kalina. Is that what this is all about?
She established a page to like document the video, if that makes sense, because it's a really long video, and an hour long. So to chop it up and create awareness, and she created the page to create awareness, because again, it was like I heard about the story days prior, and it was like a few people were talking about it, and it just went away. And it was like, what happened to that Black girl stuck in Jamaica? And I was just researching that for a couple days. Like, she was saying that she was stuck in Jamaica, and that was it. And it was like, how did that just pop up and go away? And I just kept looking and looking and looking for information until I found someone who had a link to her whole entire life. Because I had only, when I had came across it, I was only able to catch like 15 minutes of it that day. But the story didn't leave my mind. And so it definitely took me a while to re-find the video, as I stated in the very first one. It took me a long time, but it just didn't leave my mind because I'm like, that girl spent a long time talking about how she was in danger. So yeah, that's how I came across the video and that page and the girl who runs the page.
And so, does she believe that she lied? Because I don't want to. I want my listeners to go and see your video, 38-minute video, but I want them to hear what she says. Because she helped you put this information out. And the reason why I'm asking, sis, and I'm gonna tell you what my gut feeling is with what you're saying. We got two scenarios that's going on here. We have a total social media psyop that's going on, or we have a case of a missing person. And if we have a case of a missing person, then either way, you write and report in the story, right? If it's a psyop, then we need to know that they are forces that's higher than us out here doing some things with the social media, and it's affecting our mental. It's causing us to be divided amongst ourselves. And if it is a case of this young lady is missing, and the powers that be have, whoever took her, or if they did, is a case of kidnapping or trafficking, then the powers that are in control have taken control of her social media and are posting these ambiguous and not, these posts that's lacking details. As you stated, show us a picture that you are okay. You are a journalist and you did your job. And the Tonight Show is about how when we as a people report what's going on with us as a nation of people, we do not look at the facts. We immediately start investigating the person that brings the facts. Now, if we really wanted to go and do that, has anybody investigated Kalina Collier behavior prior to going to Jamaica? What is her history? What's her pattern? What's her pattern of behavior? And then we have the people on social media that are assuming a whole lot of things, and that's playing into our psyche. Who is behind these people that are pushing these narratives? And who's behind the removal of all the information that was out prior to so-called Kalina Kaye posting on Instagram that we're fine and what happened to us is false? How do we attempt to differentiate between true journalistic work and those of us who are hating to seek social media fame? How do we differentiate between the two?
I think I can only really speak to my recent experience with Dynamic, which is a smear campaign against me in the name of me opening up my platform to speak about Kalina Collier, which with that narrative is that I took away from real sex trafficking victims and real sex trafficking awareness. And if it was really in the name of that, you creating 17 to 19 videos about me, just speaking negatively about me and my looks on my platform, instead of taking the time to create legitimate awareness around what you feel as though I subtracted from, which I can totally respect and understand. That would be what real criticism or what real journalistic critique or feedback would look like. But instead of using your platform in that way, you decided to call me all sorts of derogatory names, um, everything but a child of God, talk about the way that I look, um, say that I have the devil in me, brought religion into it. I'm a demon. I run all these million different pages. It's very odd behavior from someone who is a quote unquote cult survivor who actually displays all of the behaviors of what a cult leader looks like. Um, so that would be the difference between someone literally trying to give me real feedback about the harm, which I totally, I can look back and I can reflect on that because I'm a real person. Like I said, if I could go back and do that video over, I would do things differently. But a lot of times your delivery diminishes your message. And if your means of trying to tell me that I was wrong with that video is to call me all types of B words and this and that, and to call me ugly, and I've got the devil in me, instead of being focused on the subject at hand, this has nothing to do with journalistic integrity at this point. You have an obsession over me. You've made almost 20 videos about me. Those are two totally different things. And for anybody looking back to see the landscape of things, they can see that, and a lot of people do. And for the people looking at it up close and really have their pitchfork up together with her, hey, it is what it is. I'm not trying to convince anybody. You're going to believe what you want to believe, but the true journalism, if you really cared about the platform, calling people B words isn't means of holding your counterparts or your coworkers or colleagues, if that's how you want to look at it, right? YouTube is a platform where we get paid. And if we're both monetized, then I guess, what do you want to call us? Coworkers? But calling me all types of B words while trying to hold me accountable, your delivery doesn't allow me to hear anything that you're trying to say at all. And it says a lot about what your real motive or what your intent is. So, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't consider her your coworker. I would consider her your associate. You both are independent journalists, and I don't know if you feel comfortable or if you want to let the listening audience know who you're speaking about. If you want to warn them against this particular person, or you just want to speak about them, ambiguously. And the choice is yours, my sister. It's no pressure for me. It's up to you.
Well, the thing with people like her is they come onto the scene, so to speak, the internet scene, the digital scene, the scene where black YouTube, that's what we call it, black YouTube, and they pick beefs and they make imaginary beef out of larger content creators to get views because your name is in the search engine. So people like her thrive off of poking and poking and poking and poking at people until someone, boom, makes a response. And if, again, this is a person that has 1,000 subscribers. I have 30,000 subscribers. So if I then title a video after you and I talk about you and I diss you back, or I address your lies or anything, that's giving you the viewership and the clout that you want. And I refuse. You know who you are. You know what you're doing. And I'm way more strategic than you think. The people who you poke at and who you want them to title videos after you or whatever, they have done it. Girl, I'm not. So, and again, the people who fall and who subscribe to the way that she thinks, when again she's attacking my looks instead of what I've done journalistically, if you can't hear that or see that she's not doing anything but dishing lazy insults at me in the way that I look in my presentation. And literally she says, just because someone has an eloquent delivery doesn't mean that they're telling you the truth. Just because she talks nice. And then she starts accusing me of putting word spells on people because I'm so articulate and because I'm so good with words. She's like, oh, she does witchcraft, she does voodoo, she does word spells. Don't subscribe to her. I'm like, what? Are you crazy? Like, she started going way off the deep end just because someone has an eloquent delivery. It's like, if you can't hear the jealousy in this girl, then I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm like, not you attacking the fact that I'm articulate and saying that I do voodoo. Like you're you know, and you're alluding to dark magic, which again, when you do your research on this girl, it's very public. The cult that she talks about, she's very familiar with dark magic because she speaks about it. I don't know what dark magic is, and you know what? It's not my goddamn business. It's not. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I'm a very free spirit. I go outside and I look at leaves and I smile. I look at the sky and the way the clouds are shaped and I smile. I'm a free spirit. I don't have nothing to do with dark magic, and it's not my goddamn business. I don't know about it, you know? So her accusing me of all those odd things is like, you're crazy. She woke up every day and would like make 18 paragraphs about all this satanic stuff that she's claiming that I do. I'm like, over Kalina. Again, no videos about sex trafficking awareness, but because of the Kalina situation, you're making all these a whole legitimate smear campaign. So it's just been very odd, the obsession over me that she clearly has. And you know, some of her people literally popping up to my comment section, hashtag cult gang. Again, you're a cult survivor, but you're glamorizing cult nature now. You're telling people that they're, you know, the real people that are a part of your cult gang know what it is, and you're sending your people over to my comment section to leave the hashtag cult gang, and I got to delete that stuff. You know, it's very weird. Like, you're sending your cult follower or whatever you're doing, like, it's odd as heck. Like, it's
I mean, my sister, you know, it's going to be in this time and age that we're living in, it's going to be those of us who are going to be following behind these dark forces, right? Because we wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities in spiritual and high places. So those are the dark forces that we're battling against right now in these time and these ages, right? So this age that we're living in, we are living in the time and age where social media can be used to help us in our plight here in this diaspora. Social media was intended to possess us, to get us in a state of strife amongst us. It's up to us to unite us, and it's up to people like you who are reporting on what's going on in our community because you are abreast of how we're reporting on social media. And now they want to try to silence you in your efforts. Is the reason why a lot of us are being silenced in this hour. And right now, my sister, I have what you wrote in your comment section from the video that you posted, who's controlling Kalina Kaye's Instagram page, right? And that was posted on February 19, 2021. And it's where you say, you know, you were really trying to report on a pandemic that's going on in our community of Black women coming up missing and becoming victims, falling victims to sex trafficking. And I just keep going back in my spirit, my sister, saying that, you know, we had someone like Harvey Epstein, I believe that was his name, Epstein. He supposedly hung himself in New York, right? That dude who had the island, and that's where it was reported that he did a whole lot of sex trafficking with underage kids on these islands. on this island that he owned. And we had the whole situation with Pizzagate during the last year of the Obama administration while Hillary Clinton was running for president, and she was implicated in all of this. And so child pedophilia and sex trafficking is real, as well as organ trafficking, organ trafficking. So when you bring out stories such as Kalina Kaye, especially after she put out an hour-long testimony, and I listened to that, where she described her interactions with the people on that island and running that resort, and the conditions that she was subjected to, and the lack of communication that they gave her regarding surrounding her positive COVID testing that ended up being a false positive. This is so tied up with this social re-engineering. They want us to get used to people coming up missing and we never hear from them again, and then we move on with our lives. And the fact that you say, hey, no, we're not going to pretend like this girl didn't, this young lady, this young woman, this black woman did not reach out to us and say, hey, something is wrong, and my mom is here and something is wrong. Woo, woo. You said, no, we're not going to do that. And all of a sudden, something is strange going on with how she's speaking on her social media accounts, as if someone has taken control of that. Someone speaking for her, influencing how we should think and feel about her. While my family, she may just as very well still be missing. Because like it or not, when you sign on to these social media accounts, your information belongs to them in the federal government. My sister, do you want to comment on that?
You know, it's really difficult for me to comment on anything specific to Kalina because it just...
How about you just comment on the general idea of how this social media all the social media platforms were engineered for a particular agenda. And what you're experiencing is the agenda that they wanted to play out. I think what I'm going to do right now, sister, and I think this probably would be a good time. Let's watch this video together. This video is not that long. It's only 14 minutes long. But I want us to watch this together and listen to what they're saying. The video is entitled, "This is How Social Media is Destroying Your Life. The Fake Reality." And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about this, my sister. Let's listen to this.
Cruel social media remarks. Facebook comments have been pouring in after 4 people died while hiking.
So you're dealing with an addicted generation.
This is a big time bomb ticking.
These kids who commit suicide, you go look at their Instagrams, you would have no clue.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No. People who spend more time on Facebook suffer higher rates of depression than people who spend less time on Facebook. It'll destroy relationships, it'll cost time, and it'll cost money, and it'll make your life worse.
To be human means that you are persuadable in every single moment. It doesn't matter what language you speak, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. It's not about what someone knows, it's about how your mind actually works.
We now know that many of the major social media companies hire individuals called attention engineers who borrow principles from Las Vegas casino gambling, among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible.
We are all vulnerable to social approval. We really care what other people think of us. When you upload a new photo of yourself on Facebook, that's a moment where our mind is very vulnerable to knowing what other people think of my new profile photo. And so when we get new likes on our profile photo, Facebook, knowing this, could actually message me and say, oh, you have new likes on your profile photo. It knows that we'll be vulnerable to that moment because we all really care about when we're tagged in a photo or when we have a new profile photo. I mean, I think we can all feel it. And it's as if we've been infected. It's if they've drilled a hole in the back of our head and now they've injected the virus and now we walk around searching for feedback using social media. We know that engagement with social media and our cell phones releases a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is the exact same chemical that makes us feel good when we smoke, when we drink, and when we gamble. In other words, it's highly, highly addictive. You have an entire generation that has access to an addictive, numbing chemical called dopamine through social media and cell phones as they're going through the high stress. They don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with stress. So when significant stress starts to show up in their lives, they're not turning to a person, they're turning to social media. They're turning to these things which offer temporary relief. We know, the science is clear, we know that people who spend more time on Facebook suffer higher rates of depression than people who spend less time on Facebook. That's a problem. That's an addiction. If you're sitting in a meeting with people you're supposed to be listening to and speaking, and you put your phone on the table, you're just not that important to me, right? So you have an addicted generation that doesn't have the skill set to ask for help. Combined with the fact that they're so good at Facebook and Instagram, they're good at putting filters on everything. So they're good at showing you how smart and strong they are. These kids who commit suicide, you go look at their Instagrams, you would have no clue that they were depressed.
People look like they have a much better life than they really do. People are posting pictures of when they're really happy. They're modifying those pictures to be better looking. People basically seem they're way better looking than they basically really are, and they're way happier seeming than they really are. So if you look at everyone on Instagram, you might think they're all these happy, beautiful people, and I'm not that good looking and I'm not happy, so I must suck. Some of the happiest seeming people, actually some of the saddest people in reality.
Social media isn't real, but you don't ever see real life. The 99% of our lives, the behind the scenes, the unglamorous, unfiltered, day-to-day, bland normality. And you end up comparing your behind the scenes to other people's fake highlight reel and using others as a mirror or benchmark for how you should look, how successful you should be, or how you should live. You'll become your happier self when you stop putting pressure on yourself to be more like someone else.
And they know that this causes depression. They're injecting things into your head that you didn't ask for. Our lives are becoming more transparent, just inevitably. It's just pulling us.
It'll destroy relationships, it'll cost time, and it'll cost money, and it'll make your life worse.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
No.
So my sister, it's all engineered for them to collect,
for just 67
to collect data on us. They're studying our patterns, our like patterns, our follow patterns. They're grouping us into certain categories. And for you as a content creator, do you consciously, when you come up with the stories that you're going to report on, how much of how you think the algorithms or the analytics are going to play out, how much of that affects how you create and what you say, and what you post on social media? My sister, are you there? I think we might have lost my sister. Are you there, sister? I think she said she can't hear anything. I'm wondering if she's still there. But we've seen on that video that you know, what they have designed for you to put into your head they're not going along with that platform. They're not subscribing to all of these things. And before I move on, I do want to thank my sister if she can't come back in on the line. I do want to thank her for being part of this recording and giving her testimony regarding social media. She is a YouTuber, the Plainest Jane on YouTube. Check her out. She's a very good journalist at bringing forth the stories that matter to our people in this hour. We cannot let our independent journalists fall by the wayside. We cannot forget the efforts that they are putting forth in this hour. If you are still listening, my sister, I totally support you in your platform, the Plainest Jane on YouTube. And for all those so-called haters that's pushing back on what my sister is doing as a journalist, shame on you. Because in this hour, what we should be using social media for is to shut down those evil forces that my sister was speaking on that are coming against her right now in this hour. I agree with her. We're not going to give that particular individual energy. We're not going to do that. But in this hour, what we're going to do is use our social media platforms to very well do what the Plainest Jane has set out to use her platform to do, and that is inform us of what's going on in our communities. We have to flip the script. And they're saying that they're using these social media platforms to have us become addicted. Then we need to become addicted to the right things. We need to be feeding our minds with positive things. We need to be subscribing to YouTube channels that feed our minds, educate us, and give us the truth as what's being put out there with no biased opinion. These are just the facts. This is what it is. And we as a people have to learn how to accept that and not go chasing to and fro, looking for the truth and spreading lies, spreading disinformation. We have to stop being intellectually lazy and research these things for ourselves. And also vet the information that you are receiving in this social media time. Because like I said, with the case of Kalina Kaye, this young lady may very well be still missing. Because I know for a fact that the powers that be, the alphabet boys, have their way of taking control of your social media accounts, creating dummy accounts. If she's held without, if this young lady is being held against her will, who's to say that they didn't force her to give up her Instagram account password? Anybody ever thought on those lines? You'll be amazed what people do when they're under pressure. When you are afraid to lose your life, you give up all kind of information. and you will sell your soul too for some bread, for some money. Now, I'm not saying that that's what this young lady did. I don't know if she's really, really missing. What I'm going to do is pray that the powers of social media has not caused us to be blind to what's really going on in our community, which the plainest Jane said so eloquently in her comment section on the video that she posted on February 19th, 2021. When she was asking this very same question that I'm alluding to. Who is behind the hashtag Kalina Kaye at Ocean Carl live Instagram page? Is it really her? Is it, who's controlling that? You know, did she say I'm fine? Did she really post I'm fine? Me and my mama fine. The stories you heard, that's some bull crap. No, we good. I'm paraphrasing, family, make this interesting. I'm just paraphrasing. But we really need to talk about how social medias your social media account can be hacked, can be taken control of. If you come up missing, heck, there are a lot of people didn't have lights in Texas. There's some people that still have not been accounted for in Texas. Has anybody checked on these people in their Facebook accounts, their social media accounts? Remember, you remember how Facebook had that check-in during a disaster? People check in. Right. They didn't have electricity, so they couldn't check in. So where are all the stories from that disaster? You should have just story after story after story after story on your Facebook feed, but you don't. On your Instagram feed, but you don't. You have to search for it. The plainest Jane wrote after the social media backlash, after she reported the story from a young lady who went live saying that something has gone awry after her stay in Jamaica and behind a false positive COVID test. The young lady spent 1 hour and 6 minutes, I believe the plainest Jane said, telling her testimony, giving her testimony of what she's experiencing while she's supposed to be in quarantine. Okay? I don't have another 38 minutes to play the whole entire video, but I'm going to read what the plainest Jane wrote on the day that she published this video, February 19th. Here it goes. The voice of Black women when they are in danger is often sometimes not heard. 40% of victims of human trafficking are African Americans. When creating my initial video about Kalina Kaye, I had good intentions. In each plus every one of my videos, including the banner scrolling across the bottom, I encourage my audience to think critically and independently regardless of what they hear from me or anybody else. I am in no way affiliated with hatred for Jamaica, nor do I condone those sentiments. It's quite shameful that I have to remind adults that I am not responsible for individuals who took it upon themselves to call, plus threaten officials of the Jamaican government based upon the allegations of Catalina Kaye. The story of Catalina Kaye has caused a shitstorm plus, and People are using her name for clout. Some have dedicated over 15 videos plus over 40 community posts to drag people who covered the story initially, and those same people are unable to hold real conversations and plus raise true awareness about what real sex trafficking looks like. It's about getting Kalina's and my name in many titles as possible, not raising awareness for a cause you feel I subscribe from. That is what true loneliness, obsession, and clout chasing plus clout chasing looks like. Because bringing down or talking shit about larger names is the only way some know how to come up. Beef sector channels don't always have beef to eat off. They have to make beef in order to survive. Sadly, those channels obsess over and about others due to lack of true purpose themselves. Sadder than that, a segment of the Black YouTube community seems to lack the ability to respectfully state differences or expectations. These drag fest streets lack decency. Content creators, I urge you to stay inside. Create your content and mind your business. Last but not least, don't ever let anyone bully you into removing content or issuing an apology. YouTubers who have the best interest of the platform itself or sex trafficking awareness would have created content and addressed the subject with respect, decency, and decency. Sex trafficking is a sensitive and serious subject that should not be selfishly lumped into ego or drunk subpar drags, which are more like lazy insults. Covering the subject of Kalina, sex trafficking should result in digital stalking, living and screenshotting someone else's comment section every 10 minutes, or making over 50 post videos in a span of 4 days about another content creator. Some people can tell me more about each one of my community tab posts and comment sections than me. I have been a victim of stalking in person in the past and had to obtain full restraining order. The circumstances surrounding these virtual obsessions are identical. I understand that some of you are to selectively listen, hear what you want to hear, and report back expeditiously. Thank you for listening and unsubscribing. If you are unable to keep your hateful comments to yourself, Anna, the owner of the at Ocean Corral Live Instagram page, stated claims about Jamaica having the second highest homicide rate in the world. These are her claims, not mine. She was then asked for receipts and provided the following. And she provided a link here for the receipts of the claim. Regardless of what has happened, Kalina Kaya must be held accountable for her actions. I said several times in the video that this needs to be exposed, whether it is true or false, so that someone can be held accountable. This has been a developing story. Press play. Join this channel to access the perks. Okay, so yes, please follow the Plainest Jane. And once again, I want to thank her for being, here on the platform tonight and sharing her story. regarding how social media can be abusive. To those of us that's just trying to report the news, just trying to support, report the news while supporting our people and trying to bring awareness to what's going on in our communities. If we're not supporting our community by reporting the news as we're getting it off these social media platforms, understand, this journalist, the plaintiff Jane, received a email or got this Instagram post of this young lady who said that she was being held in unfavorable conditions in Jamaica behind a false positive COVID test. And then subsequently, the young lady supposedly had posted that she's all good and the reports you're hearing about me is false, being my mom is false. And it's like, and there's nothing else. So what are we to think? And instead of us using our mental brains, there's some of us that's being caught up in the social media campaign to not only erase what Kalina said herself, but to also drag through the mud those people who are actually reporting on the original story. Who's controlling social media? Who's controlling social media? You have to ask yourself that question. Otherwise, you'll never figure out how to protect yourself. This is chess, not checkers. Now, some of us may be wondering why I posted Grandmaster Jay's picture on the flyer tonight. This is not clickbait. This is real talk. This is a man who's actually facing charges on tomorrow. Because why? He was on social media. If nobody else said it, I'm going to say it. Right? He was on social media. If nobody else said it, I'm going to say it. That is why he's facing federal charges and state charges. He was on social media with The Morning Mental, and he was also on social media with Facts Over Feelings. Facts Over Feelings, that's why it got really, really deep. Really, really deep. And just when the brother was just about to expose the mind game that they're using on you, the dopamine effect of social media, he's about to explain it. I don't know if he realized that he was about to explain that social media effect, that social media engineering platform but he knew. He even mentioned it several times that he knew that the powers that be was behind all of this social media stuff. Definitely behind it. Definitely. And he exposed it. And now they got him about to be facing charges. Because he was galvanizing and motivating and inspiring his people to what? Unite. And if anybody seen the documentary Lady Judas, the Black Messiah? Yeah. Black history all over again. Black history all over again. And because he was on social media, using his social media platform to motivate and inspire and educate his people, what happened? They shut him down. Just like they're attempting to shut down the Plaintiff Jane. Why? Perhaps she exposed their sex trafficking ring in Jamaica. Truth be told, I would really like for Kalina Kanye to say something if she's here in the States and if she's really well, so that the heat can come off of our dear journalists. Our dear journalists, the Plaintiff Jane. I had no idea, family, when I came up with this topic, that I would be talking about the Plaintiff Jane in the same breath that I'm talking about Grandmaster Jane. Do you see what's happening right now in this hour on social media with our people who are so-called social media influencers? Social media influencers. And I'm far from it. I have very few followers. But what I'm saying is true. This brother, Grandmaster Jay, has been silenced. And they're now trying to silence this sister. She's gotten emails from official heads of state of Jamaica, simply because she reported on a story. She reported on a story that just went viral. She reported a story that went viral. And because the story went viral, she's getting backlash. And that is very, very unfortunate. From us, our people, our people. You know, I had to pause. I'm just reading the comments. And I am so glad to see that we have more people that are saying that, hey, Jane, you are doing the right thing. You are doing the right thing. We can take control of social media. We can take control of social media. We can stop the abuse on our mental health by putting into our brain positive things instead of bad things. And sometimes we have to take a mental break from social media. Sometimes we just have to pull back. I'm going to read this article. The rise of social media has meant that people are more connected than we have ever been in history of time. But our reliance on social media can have a detrimental effect on our mental health, with the average Brit checking their phone as much as the average Brit, that's Britain, checking their phone as much as 28 times a day. While social media platforms can have their benefits, using them too frequently can make you feel increasingly unhappy and isolated in the long run. The constant barrage of perfectly filtering photos. I can't even say it because I ain't even into that. Perfectly filtered photos that appear on Instagram are bound to knock many people's self-esteem, while obsessively checking on Twitter feed just before bed could be contributing towards poor quality of sleep. Here are 6 ways that social media could be negatively affecting your mental health without you even realizing. Self-esteem. However, comparing yourself to others on social media by stalking their aesthetically perfect Instagram photos or staying up to date with their relationship status on Facebook could do little to assuage your feelings of self-doubt. A study conducted by the University of Copenhagen found that many people suffer from Facebook envy, with those who abstained from using the popular site reporting that they felt more satisfied with their lives. Like, I very seldom post on Facebook. When I'm posted on Facebook, it's to bring this word to you guys, to do this and to post positive posts for our people and to like positive posts that my people are posting. I don't necessarily like liking negative stuff. I'm just not inclined to it. And thankfully, thanks to the Facebook algorithms and the type of people I've been liking, I get number positive feeds on my Facebook feed. So I have to say thumbs up to Facebook algorithms for that. And that goes back to what I say, what you put into your what you choose to put into your subconscious, basically what you're looking at on these social media platforms, who you're choosing to align yourself with, who you're choosing to follow, what you're choosing to like, determines what you're going to see on Facebook. That's the algorithms, that's the analytics of it all. And by doing that, by saying I'm going to nothing but feed myself with nothing but positive images, positive thoughts, positive people that are doing positive things, that's what's going to scroll on your Facebook feed. I could read you all day long. You know, I had another article, how to protect your mental health from social media. Tips from an expert. I read the first paragraph. Scrolling through phones on Instagram or reading updates on Facebook can be draining. It can seem as if everyone else is having more fun or achieving greater success or getting more likes for their photos and status updates. Yet, social media is also how many people stay connected with long-distance friends or cousins they otherwise see only once a year. Family reunions. That's the positive, right? So how can people reap the benefits of social media without letting it harm their mental health? Researchers have come up with a few easy follow tips. But first, what are the dangers that social media users face? I already talked about that. I'm going to scroll through. How to protect your mental health. An adjunct professor of psychology. Limit when and where you use social media. Using social media can interrupt and interfere with in-person communications. Consider turning your social media notifications off, or even putting your phone in airplane mode during meals with families and friends, conversations with your partner, or important meetings at work. That's just common sense, and that's just common courtesy. Why would someone have to tell you to do those things? To help you, I guess it has to be stated if you're addicted to social media. Like, you can't put your phone down in a minute to have a conversation with your kid. Come on. Everything done in moderation. Thus said the Most High. Moving on. Try not to keep your phone or computer in your bedroom or use social media right before bed. Studies show that using devices at this time disrupts your sleep. Consider scheduling regular multi-day breaks from social media. Several studies have shown that a 5-day-a-week-long break from Facebook can lead to lower stress and higher life satisfaction. If that seems too extreme, just limiting your social media use to 30 minutes a day can reduce feeling of loneliness and depression. No, see, some of us, we work and some of us use social media for our jobs, right? We're selling things. We have to engage with people. And that's how we meet people. That's how we meet our clients. After all, we're moving into an age of everything is going to be done online. So the virtual reality of it all is that we're all going to be engaging on these social media platforms in order for us to do business. So what you put into your brain, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, will determine if your social media mental is straight. Or are you going to fall victim are you going to be a victim of social bullying? Or are you going to recognize that it is social bullying and you're going to disassociate yourself from it mentally because you recognize what it is? Once you recognize what it is, then you're able to disconnect from it because you're not paying attention to it anymore. You're not giving it any negative energy. You're not feeding into it by not watching it. You're not watching it. You're aware that it's there, but you're not putting it into your subconscious. You're moving it on and you're feeding your subconscious with positive thoughts. Positive thoughts. You can use social media for peer-to-peer support. It can be a very, very useful thing when you surround yourself with like-minded people. Social media does not have to be all bad to your mental health. It can be good for your mental health. It can be very good for your mental health. I recently watched a video from a young brother, and I'm going to share that video and then I'm going to close out. But I'm going to read this article from Cambridge. It says methods. And this commentary retains the perspective that when an individual with serious mental illness decides to connect with similar others online, it represents a critical point in their illness experience. We propose a conceptual model to illustrate how online peer-to-peer connections may afford opportunities for individuals with serious mental illness to challenge stigma, increase consumer activation, and access online interventions for mental and physical well-being. Results. People with serious mental illness report benefits from interacting with peers online, from greater social connectedness, feelings of group belonging, and by sharing personal stories and strategies for coping with day-to-day challenges of living with a mental illness. With online communities, individuals with serious mental illness could challenge stigma through personal empowerment and providing hope. By learning from peers online, these individuals may gain insight about important health care decisions, which could promote mental health mental health care seeking behaviors. These individuals could also access interventions for mental and physical well-being delivered through social media that could incorporate mutual support between peers, help promote treatment engagement, and reach a wider demographic. Unforeseen risks may include exposure to misleading information, facing hostile or derogatory comments from others, or feeling more uncertain about one's health condition. However, given the evidence to date, the benefits of online peer-to-peer support appear to outweigh the potential risks. That falls in line with what I was saying. Peer-to-peer, those Amos 3 and 3, can two walk together except they be agreed? That's the question of Amos 3 and 3. We have to be in agreement. In order for us to be able to receive what we're putting into our system. If you're putting negative things into your system, then you're in agreement with those negative things, and chances are that's going to play out in your reality. What you see on social media plays out into your reality. How do you change that? You look at different social media sites with the mindset that you're searching for the positive, or you're searching for how you can help. With the story that the Plaintiff Jane brought forward with Kalina Kaye, the only thing that we could do right now with the story that she brought forward is pray that Kalina, number one, is okay. Because we don't know. We still don't know. But one good thing that came about from the sister's story, from the Plaintiff Jane's story, is that either way, we need to pray. Because we still don't know. We still don't know, family. And that's the gist of it all. I'm going to leave y'all with one last video that I got, and I would like to share from you all on social media. This brother. Social media. How it can be used. How social media can be used to provide a positive word, right? The brother name is Dante Young. Check out his channel. Go and subscribe. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video for us. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here.
The reason your hair is thinning has been your shampoo? Okay. No matter what hair growth.
We're not going to listen to the commercial. We're going to let that play. We're going to let that skip that ad. We're going to skip this trial. Get the brother on.
Retain gang, what's poppin', man? It's your boy Tay, back at y'all again. I had a subscriber hit me up, and he said he's dealing with jealousy. You know, he's scrolling on IG, Facebook. He's seeing all his friends, people that he follow, seeing them living a life, they moving up, and he's staying stagnant. And he's starting to get jealous, and he can't seem to shake that energy. So we're gonna hop into this one, man. First off, I want y'all, before we even start this, man, go listen to J. Cole, Love Yours. Y'all know how it go. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. Embed that in your mind, right? Because that's a very, very true statement. This is why social media can be a blessing and a curse, depending on how you use it. Because you watching people, man, people are always going to post the best of the best. It's like a highlight reel. People going to post the good times in their life. So you might follow people who seem like they living a life. They always taking trips. They're always posting good pictures. They just seem to always be up and winning. But what you don't understand is you don't know what happens behind closed doors. You don't know what's going on when the camera's off. Everybody on IG fronting and stunting. You know what I'm saying? That's the MO. That's the motto. Front and stunt. You got to make it look good. That's why they got all these filters and everything like that, to front and stunt, to make it look good. For one, you got to understand jealousy we're going to switch this up a little bit, because jealous is being afraid of losing something. So if you got a girl, you know, and you see her talking to another guy, you're going to become jealous because you're afraid of losing her to another man. But in your case, you're not jealous, you're envious. Envy is wanting something that somebody else has. So they're very closely related, but they're not quite the same. So in your case, you're envious of other people because they have something that you want. Okay? But let me ask you this question. Why do you want what they have? Right? Why do you want what they have? What's wrong with what you got? See, when you're going through these emotions and feelings, you got to sit down, you got to observe what you're feeling. You got to study yourself. Why, when I look at somebody else's life, why do I want what they have? Where is that coming from? This is why we take this journey, we take the steps on this journey to better ourselves and to focus on ourselves. So you can figure yourself out. Figure out what you want in life. Just because something glitters doesn't mean it's gold. Doesn't mean it has value. The reason why you're envious is because you're so focused on what other people have instead of focusing on what you have and appreciating what you have. See, a lot of times, man, we can be focused on other people so much that we lose sight of ourselves. And not only do you lose sight of yourself, but you might be hindering your light from shining. You might be stopping your own self. Who's to say that your potential that you have inside of you could be greater than what you want? Your potential inside of you could be greater than what you thought you wanted. But you will never tap into that because you're so focused on what other people have instead of focusing on what you got and what you can accomplish. See, I ain't gonna front, man. We all get envious. I've been envious too. But this is what the journey's about. We're learning ourselves. You learn, you grow. Trial and error. You learn how to handle that energy. Envy can be good. Being envious can be good if you know how to transmute that energy. It can motivate you. It can inspire you. You know, you can be envious of what somebody has and be inspired, right? Not to be that person. You don't want to inspire to be somebody else, but you can be inspired by seeing that person at their full potential, but you can be inspired by somebody else to unlock your full potential. That person can be the key for you going back inside yourself and becoming your best version, right? This is why you don't want to be outside of yourself so much. When you're envious of people and when you're wanting what somebody else has, you're outside of yourself. And you miss out on your blessings. You miss out on what you have to offer to the world. What you have inside of you could be greater than anything you can imagine. But you got to focus on yourself. The second thing is, you don't know what that person went through to get where they're at. You know, we should never be judgmental to others as far as what they have or looking at them like, I wish I had that, because you don't know what they had to go through. You know, nobody watches practice, but everybody shows up for the game. Everybody shows up for the game. You don't know what that person had to do in their daily life every single day, what they had to struggle through, what they had to endure, what obstacles were thrown at them for them to become successful or be where they're at. You know, and some people, they do things that's against their morals and their principles to have a taste of a little bit of fame and money and materialistic things. So be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you want. Be careful looking at other people's lives and wanting that, because what it took to get there might not be something you want to go through. You know, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. You got everything that you need inside of you to become your best version. You are unique to every single person on this planet because no one has the same exact experience as you. No one has the same exact talent as you. You are unique. You are the only person, you are the only you on this planet. Let that sink in. Stop thinking that everybody else's life is so good and so much better than yours. We all struggling. We all go through struggle. We just know how to hide it. We know how to mask it in public. But like I said, love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not. Nobody's going to showcase their struggle. Nobody's going to showcase the days where they're down, you know, You don't know what's going through somebody's head, what emotions they're going through. You might lack what somebody else has, but they might lack what you have. One thing I learned on my journey is to appreciate what I have and to show gratitude every single day for just being able to wake up and be who I am, to be able to experience life and learn the lessons from them. Everything that I've accomplished, everything that I've been through, everything that I have right now, I appreciate. Because at some point in my life, I know the past me had to go through trials, tribulation, had to go through, trauma, all these things just to be where I'm at today. So I don't take that for granted. I don't look at somebody else's life and think like, man, I wish I was them. I look at myself and how can I better myself? Right? You are unique. You are special. So focus on your uniqueness. What do you have to offer? You looking at somebody else and somebody else might be looking at you. Always remember that. Somebody else is always looking at you. Somebody else is always going to be better. The people that you looking at, that you wish you was them, they looking at somebody else wishing they was that person. Everybody's walking around insecure. True confidence comes from being content, showing gratitude, being thankful, being humble. Because all those things, you won't care about those things anymore. You won't care. That's the society we live in, man, where everybody's trying to one-up the next person. Somebody might make $30,000, they looking at the person that's making $60,000. Oh, I wish I was them. I wish I was them. Somebody might be making $15,000 looking at the $30,000 person. I wish I was them. We always look up and think it's better. We always looking up and thinking somebody else's life is better. But like I say, you don't never know what they're going through. Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. This journey to become our best versions, mentally, spiritually, and physically, is truly about yourself. It's selfish, but it's selfless at the same time. Because we tame the ego and show love. Love yours. Love yourself. Love what you've accomplished so far. And I promise you, man, all that energy will start to phase out. You'll start to look at yourself. You'll start to feel more happy about yourself and what you have, man, because you're content. Stop scrolling on IG. Stop scrolling on Facebook and comparing yourself to other people. There is no comparison. You are your only competition. Compare yourself to yourself yesterday. Who were you yesterday? And who are you going to become today? That's all that matters. It's always going to be somebody better. It's always going to be somebody better looking. Somebody who dresses better. Somebody who has more money. Has more women. Whatever, man. It's always going to be somebody who's going to be a little bit more. But do you want to be a person that's constantly chasing? Or somebody who's content and has an abundant mindset, so you level up regardless? When you become content with yourself, you get abundance. You have an abundance mindset. Now you're going to gain more. Unconsciously gain more. So focus on that frequency. Focus on that energy of being content, being humble, and showing gratitude. Alright? That being said, man, it's your boy Tay. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what y'all thought about this video. Stop being envious of people to the point where you start to lose yourself. Alright? That being said, y'all have a beautiful day, and I'm out. Peace.
So, with that, final word for the night, family, is that don't look to social media to validate you. Look to your higher power to understand who you are and whose you are. It don't take much to decide who you want to follow and what you want to follow. You in control. You're in the driver's seat. You're in control. You are in the driver's seat. If we know that social media is part of predictive programming, intelligence gathering, why are we still falling victim to it? Why are we not playing chess? That means I eat Give them only what we want them to know. Give them only what we want them to know. And we control the narrative. And we're all putting out positive stories. And we're all spreading the same narrative about a particular story. And we're not doing counter stories to gain likes, to gain clicks. We have a man that stood up for Breonna Taylor when the government was trying to hide it. We was trying to hide her murder. He stood up. He went down into Kentucky, made us think about it. They didn't like it. He ruffled a couple of feathers, and now he's facing federal charges on tomorrow. Why? Because they were able to trace his words. That's his words on social media. And we, some of us, fell for the counter argument. He must be an agent. He got to be guilty. He got to be out of his mind if he think that black people can have a militia. Why is that? Why do you think that? That's because you've been brainwashed on social media as to what a militia should look like and who should be a part of a militia. Because of what you're seeing, what you program your mind to accept. Because of what you've seen, what they've told you should be the norm. They also told you homosexuality is now the norm. Should we all just say, okay, that's what it is? That's them. Okay, yeah, it is them. But do we promote that? Do we put that into our psyche? Do we watch it? Or do we substitute it? It's not you. So why are you engaging in it? Why are you putting it into your psyche? I ain't going to keep on going on. It's 9:30. That's an hour, 2.5 hour show. Social media, do not fall victim to it. Do not become addicted to it. Replace these negative vibration videos, negative vibration posts with positive. If that means that you got to lose some followers, lose some followers. If that means you're going to gain some positive followers and embrace those, go out and seek those people that are having and spreading positive message. And watch how the algorithms change. Watch how the analytics change on your feed, on your page, right? There are some people who I used to subscribe to that they're not even showing up on my page no more. I wonder why. Because I changed my YouTube habits, right? And that's what shows up in my feed. Positive things, plus what's going on in the world. Keep your eyes what's going on in the world, and keep your eyes on positivity for your people. Hashtag NFAC for life. Hashtag UBKN. Hashtag just be black. I am Akoti Tamor, and thank you for tuning in to Akoti Speaks. Until next time, shalom.